So now we will see opacity or transparency in CSS. So guys, basically the opacity property specifies the opacity or the transparency of an element, and this we are going to check with the help of examples as well. The opacity property can take a value from 0.0 up to 1.0. So guys, basically we can provide the values that is from 0.0, and then we can also provide 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 and up to the value that is 1.0. So if you provide the lower value, the more transparent the element will be. So guys, by default the opacity will be set as 1.0 to all the HTML elements, and simply by decreasing this value towards 0.0 you will be increasing the transparency of that particular HTML element. So guys, let us check this with the help of example in VS Code over here. So simply I'm going to remove the previous lines of code that we had written in the HTML and the CSS files over here. Now guys, what we are going to do is we are going to insert an image in our HTML file in this case. So basically we are going to have the image, and for the source attribute we are going to define the sample image over here that we have already saved in our directory. So guys, basically we are going to use this particular sample forest image in this case, and then for the alt attribute simply we are going to provide test image as the alternate text over here. So guys, let me just save this file now and try reloading this page once again on the browser. So as you can see, this is the image that is getting displayed over here. Now guys, we are going to set the width and height of this particular image inside the style.css file. So over here simply we are going to provide the width and height inside the img tag over here. So guys, let's say we have the width as 200 pixels and height as 150 pixels over here. So basically we are going to define these width and height in this case. Let me just save this file now and try reloading this page once again on the browser. So as you can see, this is the image that is getting displayed over here on the web browser. Now guys, by default the opacity value is 1 over here. So simply when we provide the opacity CSS property, so as you can see, this is the opacity CSS property that we are talking about right now. So by default the value is 1 right now over here. So it is 1.0. Let me just save this file now and try reloading this page. When we reload this page, we won't be able to see any change because this is the default value that we have provided over here. So as you can see, after reloading the page, there is no change inside the image in this case. Now guys, let us decrease the opacity to some extent over here so that we can see certain transparency inside this particular image. So let's provide the value as 0.8 in this case. So the moment we provide 0.8 as opacity, transparency effect should be provided to some extent to this particular image. So guys, let me just save this file now and try reloading this page once again on the browser. So as you can see, to some extent we can see the transparency inside this image now, and that is how the opacity CSS property works. Let us decrease the value to 0.5 now so that 50% of the transparency can be implemented on this particular image. Let me just save this file now and try reloading this page once again on the browser. So as you can see, 50% transparency can be seen in this particular image right now. Guys, what we will do is we will also provide the original image as well over here. So simply what we will do is, again we are going to copy this line of code once again over here. So this img tag is again having the source attribute as the sample forest image, and it is also having the alternate text as test image over here. Now guys, in order to identify, what we will do is simply we are going to provide couple of line breaks in this case. So first of all, for the first image, what we will do is we will say that this is the original image over here. So simply we are going to provide the paragraph tag in this case, and then we will say that this is the original image, and then after the line breaks again we are going to have the paragraph tag over here, and then we will say that this is the modified image in this case. So guys, for the original image we are going to have certain ID over here. So let's say we have the ID as original in this case, and for the second image, that is the modified image, we are going to have the ID which is going to be modified in this case. So guys, these IDs are provided so that we can identify between both of these images right now, since we are using the common width and height for both the images. So guys, what we will do is I'll simply remove the opacity over here from this particular image, and then we would define the ID of the modified image over here. So simply we are going to provide the hash character, and for the modified ID, so we are going to copy this modified ID and paste it over here, and we are going to provide the opacity as 0.5, that is the 50% of transparency. So guys, basically for the modified image we are going to provide the opacity as 50%, that is 0.5 is the value, and for the original image we have not provided any opacity, for which the default opacity will be 1 in this case. So guys, let me just save this file now and try reloading this page once again on the browser. So as you can see, we have this original image that is having the opacity as 1, and we have the modified image over here which is having certain kind of transparency in this case. When we set the opacity as 1.0, so there will be no change in both the images. Let me just reload this page once again on the browser. So as you can see, there is no change right now, but when we decrease the opacity, so let's say we provide 0.3 as the opacity, so basically a lot of transparency will be provided to the modified image over here. So let me just save this file now and try reloading this page once again on the browser. So as you can see, 0.3 opacity is helping us in order to provide the transparency to this particular modified image over here. So guys, in this way you can easily use the opacity CSS property in order to provide certain transparency to your images or any other HTML elements based on your requirements. Now guys, apart from this, let us check another example. Let us provide the transparency on hover effect. So guys, what does this mean is, whenever we are going to get the cursor on this particular image over here, the transparency should be applied over here. So guys, what we will do is, instead of simply having the modified ID and providing the opacity as 0.3 over here, we are going to provide 50% transparency. So we are going to provide opacity is equal to 0.5, but this should be applied when we get the cursor on this particular modified image over here and not by default. So guys, what we have to do is simply for this hash modified CSS selector, after this we are going to provide colon, and then we are going to use the pseudo class that is hover over here. So guys, basically what does this mean is, whenever we are going to get the mouse cursor on this particular HTML element that is having the ID as modified, the opacity of 0.5 will be applied over here. So guys, let me just save this file now and try reloading this page once again on the browser. So as you can see, the original and the modified images both are looking same, because by default the opacity is 1 right now on both the images, but the moment we get the cursor on this particular modified image, as you can see, the transparency effect can be seen over here, since we have provided the hover effect on this modified image over here by applying the opacity is equal to 0.5 in this case. So guys, basically when we get the cursor over here, transparency is set to 50%, and when we get the cursor outside of this image, the opacity is again set to 1.0, which is the default value. So guys, in this way you must be seeing many websites wherein when you get the cursor on a specific image, the transparency is either increased or decreased. So this is how the CSS properties are applied on those websites in such a way that the hover effect will help you in order to increase or decrease the transparency by using the opacity CSS property. So guys, comment in the comment section below whether you have learned something out of this video. Please make sure that you like this video so that it reaches to more people, and subscribe to this channel so that you get the notifications on upcoming videos as well. The next video that we are going to talk about is vertical navigation bar in CSS. So stay tuned.